you like heavy metal? If you do, you're bound to take a look at this new Spirit Adrift LP, or actually it's an EP in 12-inch format. And what I'm gonna now do is rip this wrap away and show you what's going on with this one called Forge Your Future. As a surprise, this new EP by this United States-based heavy metal band came to me as a vinyl. Not only that, but this baby really featured something as a bonus, and I'll show you once I get to find it. Also featuring the CD, which is really handy if you are not always ready to spin your vinyl. Now, as you can see, this one features pretty cool cover, and that is kind of almost like psychedelic, but I don't know, there is something with these colors and details of the image which I really like. This also comes with this lyric sheet, which also features this almost like a superhero type of a character. Can't help but think of Silver Surfer when I see this guy here. And yeah, here is the necessary information, like lyrics and all. But obviously the cream is this one. It's an orange vinyl, which is one-sided. I don't know if you can see it, but somewhere here, you know, with the reflections and all, you get this weird sun being or something like that. I'm not sure if it's a being in fact or just sun with some, you know, features. But anyway, one-sided vinyl with 3 tracks, and this is something like 19 minutes in total. Gave, by the way, both versions a spin. This CD, which looks smaller and more pathetic, but it's kind of easier to listen to than the vinyl. But what matters is that both sound okay, obviously. But that's kind of a given. This is, after all, Century Media release. And that kind of a bigger label doesn't really do mistakes. But no, before we talk the music and the details and all that stuff, let's give Spirit Adrift here on Metal Archives a quick recap. Like, basically, this band started as a solo project by Nate Garrett, who is more famous for his band, or ex-band, Gatecreeper, a death metal band. And where Spirit Adrift started as kind of like doom heavy metal combo, later on started to, you know, focus on the heavy metal side. Now, I haven't been listening to all of their stuff here, but a couple of albums or a couple of releases here and there, and I must say this band has been stepping up in quite big steps. That is, early on when I heard the band for the first time, I wasn't really convinced about the quality of the band. It was almost like this band was, you know, looking for its own style, that is, you know, whether it's not heavy metal, doom metal, or kind of a combination of both. You know, the vocals had potential, but the songwriting was kind of a sloppy. And given that this band has, you know, progressed from 2016 to 2021, that is 5 years, there's 4 full-length albums, a couple of singles, and 3 EPs. That's quite a lot to digest, given that it's only a span of 5 years. But what matters to me is that nowadays Spirit Adrift is a lot better than when I heard it for the first time. And that is obviously good news for you and me alike, the audience. Now, Forge Your Future features only 3 songs, but they're not the shortest of types, which brings this to almost 20 minutes in total. What is really cool that now Spirit Adrift is actually quite a catchy thing. That is, these songs are catchy. They're kind of bound to be almost like the next classic thing. It's like Nate Garrett has, you know, evolved into better vocalist. He wasn't bad either previously, that's kind of a given. But what's more important is that the songwriting is now a lot better. Now, I paid to my focus on a couple of things which are worth mentioning, I guess. First of all, if you take a look at the members list, the lineup of nowadays Spirit Adrift, you can find pretty much there is on the drummer, Marcus Bryant since 2017, and Nate Garrett doing everything. But in the previous lineup, you can see past members who were pretty much gone since 2019 or 2020. So it seems like this is going back to a more simplistic lineup, not solo, but yeah, a duo of sorts. And still, the band has been able to put out their maybe most meaningful release so far. Also, what is, by the way, this is kind of more like an anecdote than anything, But the Canadian band Anvil, they have throughout the years been releasing albums which are always like 3 words, or even songs like that, metal on metal and stuff like that. If you really take a look at this is what is mostly happening with Spirit Adrift here as well. Chained to Oblivion, 3 words, Curse of Conception, Divided by Darkness, Enlightening Eternity, Forge Future. It's more like a funny anecdote, but it's kind of a fun to notice. There's almost like an homage, a pattern of tribute to Anvil. And the story for both bands is, in that respect, somewhat similar, that they both started as kind of a not too shabby, but the difference is Spirit Adrift actually made a good release or more, whereas Anvil has always been more like a lukewarm experience. Both are, of course, heavy metal as well. But that's enough about Anvil. Let's focus more on Forge Future. Now, like I said, this starts with a catchy song, the title track, and that is probably also the best track on this album. It's almost like as catchy that while I was typing in my keyboard trying to do my work and whatever, I almost like, banging my fist and head. There is certain kind of a good mood. It's almost like hard rock flirting with heavy metal. So it's kind of like, because Nate Garrett has this kind of a high pitcher, vocal range, or at least that's what he's, been using. But it's also because these songs are so kind of a good mood, kind of uplifting type. Not your, more gloomy or doomy kind of a heavy metal. Not exactly like Manowar or things like that. But definitely on the other end of the spectrum versus the more kind of a raspier bands. Think of like when Wasp was doing still their kind of a, hard rock meets heavy metal kind of a thing. I mean, it sounded like dirty, oil and all that stuff. Whereas, Spirit Adrift is almost going to a little bit different directions. Not exactly power metal, but yeah, having elements of various style, and that makes this album or EP very, very enjoyable. Now, obviously, like kind of a given, the production is very, very solid, and there are no major flaws. If I only had one hope, I would say the rest of the songs should be as catchy as the first track. But overall, this is a good release, and I must say I really like how the output is. I mean, when you have artwork like this, in a format like this, when you have this kind of a cheery orange vinyl, and you also have the benefit of listening to it on CD, can't really complain, can you? Especially when it comes with good music. So, my friends, check out Spirit Adrift. It's out October 19th, 2021, so pretty much right now. So, get ready to listen. Be it your favorite streaming service or the physical format, the choice is yours. Enjoy some good heavy metal, and boom, enjoy it.